Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In previous video, we have seen how to write the remaining APIs of product, that is delete product, update status, get by category, get product by ID. So if you haven't watched that video, then just go to description there. I put the link for my previous video, or if you are watching this video after a while, then you will find further videos also in the description of this video. Okay, so in this video we are going to write the API to generate the PDF, and we are going to set the data whatever we are getting from the UI, and we will render it into the form of tables and generate a PDF and store it in a place, and also update the DB, and then return the UUID, that is the bill ID. So before we start, first thing what we have to do is we have to create a Pojo for the bill. So right click on this Pojo and select new and select class, and I'm going to name this one bill and hit enter. After this one will implement serializable, and we have to put some annotation. For that I'm going to move back over here, and I'm going to copy these and move back to the bill, and here I'm going to paste it. I'm going to change the name to bill like this one. After this we have to write the ID, that is serial version UID, private static final long like this one. After this, first thing what we need is basically the ID. So I'm going to write or declare one variable for ID. So private integer ID and @ID. After this, generated type, generated value, and strategy is equal to generated type dot identity, and it will automatically generate the ID whenever a new record is inserted, and I'm going to name this column ID like this one. After this we need few more columns, that is one is for bill UUID. So private string UUID and column, and name will be UUID like this one. Let me just remove one extra space. Column, and next column will be name. After this we have email. After email we have contact number, private string, make sure you follow the same stuff. Like here you can observe that the n is in small, but here I have put the n is in capital. Why? Because if you put capital over here, then it will store in database something like this. The column name will be like this only, like this. If you change this one to capital N, then it will store in the column name will be like this in the database. Okay, let me just revert it. And next column which we have is column, and name is payment method, private string method. Next column which we have is total, and it will be integer. After this I need to store all the cart details. Suppose I have added 5 product in my cart and I'm trying to purchase it, then I want to store the complete data of all the products which I have purchased into the database. For that, I'm storing that into a form of JSON array, so I'm going to store it. So for that, I'm going to declare a variable that is private string, and I'm going to name this one product details, and at the rate column, and name will be product details itself, and column definition will be JSON. After this, we need one more column, that is at the rate column, which is the user who have created this or who have generated this bill. So name is equal to created by private string created by something like this. After this, we need to generate the constructor if you required. Otherwise, we have already put the data annotation over here. It will automatically generate the default constructor and getter and setters for all of these columns. Okay, so next thing what we have to do is we have to go over here and create a DAO for the same. So right click on this, select Java class interfaces and build DAO. Hit enter, and it will extend JPA repository. Inside this one, we have to pass the bill and we have to pass the integer. Now our build DAO is also ready. Next time we have to create the REST classes, service classes, and service simple as well. So right click on this one, click on this Java class, select interface and build REST. Hit enter. After this, we have to create one class, that is build REST simple, and it will implement build REST. After this, we have to create one more interface, that is build service, and this is the interface, so change it to interface, and we will have build service simple, and it will implement build service, something like this, and we have to put the annotation at the service over here. We need to move back to the build REST simple, and here we have to put the @REST controller because it will be our controller, and we have to move to the build REST, and here now we can start working on the billing part. So first thing what we have to do is we have to put the annotation, that is request mapping, and it will be path will be /bill. After this, we have to declare one variable, sorry, not variable, we have to declare the method which we are going to write. For that, I'm going to write one post mapping in which we are going to accept the data in the response body, and I'm going to give it a path /generate report, and it will return a response entity of type string. I'm going to copy this name and I'm going to paste it over here, generate report, and we will accept request body, and it will be of type map of string comma object. Why string comma object? Because we are expecting one list of JSON array, and that will be of type object. So we are keeping the map of type string comma object. So request map, something like this. Now task over here is done. We're showing a related problem because we haven't implemented this method on the build REST simple. So if I move back over here over this, click on this one and implement method, and here we go. Next thing what we have to do is we have to auto wire at service build service in order to call it. So first thing, if anything goes wrong, then what we want to do is we want to return the error message, that is internal server error. So for that, just return cafe urls dot generate response entity, get response entity, and we will pass cafe constants dot something went wrong and http status dot internal server error. So in the case if anything goes wrong, so we need to put the code into the try and catch block, exception ex dot print star trace, something like this, And finally, next thing what we have to do is return build service dot, and we have to call this one generate report over here and pass the request map inside this one. It will show an issue because generate report is not available on the build service, so we are going to declare it over there. So we move to the build service, and here we are going to declare it. So response entity of type string, and we're going to paste the name over here, and it's going to expect map of string comma object, and it will be request map, something like this. If we move back over here, now the issue is gone, but on the build service it's showing an issue because we haven't implemented it. So we will move to the build service simple, and here we will hover over it, click on this one and click on OK. It will implement it now. So first thing what we have to do is we have to put the code into the try and catch block, not over here, inside this one, try and catch exception ex dot print start phrase, something like this. And if anything goes wrong, then what I want to do is I want to return a new response entity, return cafe utils dot get response entity. Inside this one we will pass cafe constants dot internal server error, or something went wrong, and http status will be http status dot internal server error. Okay, next thing, first thing what we have to do is we have to validate this request map, if this request map contains the valid data or not. And before that I'm going to declare one local variable of type string, and it will be file name. It's file name. Okay, so whatever this will be the file name we generate randomly, we will generate this file name in order to uniquely identify particular PDF, and we will also update the same name in the database. So file name, and first thing we will do is if, and I'm going to write one method that is validate request map. We will pass request map inside this one, and if this is right then we will do whatever we want to do. So just click on this, click method, and it will generate one method over here that is boolean validate request map. And so this one what we are going to do is, before we do anything, I'm going to put one annotation over here at the rate slf4j, and this annotation allow us for logging. So if you want to log something over here, then you can log like this, log.info, and if you put curly braces you can type inside, and you can put the method name over here inside generate report. It means that whenever we reach over here it will print this in the console. So if we move back over here, and here first thing what we have to do is we have to validate the data whatever we are expecting into this request map. So request return request map dot contains key, and I want to check for the name. After this I want to check for the request map dot contains key, and I want to check for the contact number, and request map dot contains key, and I'm going to check it for email. Request map dot contains key, and I'm going to check for payment method. And next thing what I want to check for, request map dot contains key, I'm going to check for product details. After this I want to check last for this one, that is total amount. This is the keys in which I'm going to pass the data into this API. So if this one is true, then what I want to do, I want to proceed, else I want to return the required data not found. So I'm going to return it over here, return cafe utils dot get response entity, and said this one I'm going to pass required data not found like this one, and it will be http status dot bad request, something like this. If this is valid, then what we want to do, first we are going to handle this in the two ways. If you call the generate report, then it will directly extract the data from the request map and generate the report, and it will save in a particular location wherever you give the path, and it will also update into the database. Second case, when you are trying to get the PDF, and if that PDF is not available in the particular place, then we are going to generate it again and return that. Okay, so I'm going to explain it. So we are going to make this API dynamic. Okay, so I'm going to check one more stuff. If request map dot contains key, and it will be is generate and not boolean request map dot get is generate. What will happen? Let me just explain you. So file name, I'm going to change this one to string, and request map dot get UUID. So if data is already in the database, then we will pass the UUID from inside this request map, and we will pass one is generate key into this request map, and we will call this generate report internally from get PDF, and it will, after this, it will generate the same file again, and it will put into that place. If this is not the case, then we will enter into the else condition, and the else we will generate a new file. So file name, so I'm going to write one method into the cafe utils which will generate one unique ID or unique name, whatever you say it. So it will just move back over here, and public static string is going to return a string and get UUID. And here what we will do is, with the help of date is equal to new date, not this one, let me just cancel it, this one Lambok, not Lambok, yeah, Java util date, like this one, and long time is equal to date dot get time. Okay, we got something wrong. Let me just check it once again. Yeah, just remove this. So here it will be date, and it's from Java utils, and it will be date is equal to new date from Java util, and here we will have it long time is equal to date dot get time, like this one. And now we will have the time in a long format, and next thing simply we will return bill dash and plus we will concat this time, so it will give us a unique time. Okay, so bill, and it will be the time, it will concatenate it, and it will return a unique string. So if I move back over here, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this. So if I move back over here, let's make some space, cafe utils dot get UUID, and it will return a unique ID. So in this case, generate report, we are not going to enter into the if block, we are going to enter into the else block. Now we have the unique name. Next thing, we have to extract request map dot put, and I'm going to put the UUID, and I'm going to set the file name inside this one. Next thing what we have to do is we are going to write one method that is insert bill, and that will insert the bill into the database. So insert bill, and inside this one we are going to pass a request map. Okay, and if I hover over it, click on this one, can create insert bill, and this will automatically create a method for us. So if I go into this one, that is create bill, so here what we will do is simply we will put the try and catch block first, exception ex dot print start trace, and if anything goes wrong, then just simply leave it, just print that exception. Okay, here first we will make the bill object. So bill is equal to new bill, and we will set details bill dot set UUID. So we have already set that, so just typecast it to string, request map dot get UUID, something like this. After this, we have to set the bill dot set name. So request map dot get, and we will pass name inside this one. Bill dot set email. It's showing an error. Don't worry about it. I will typecast it. So request dot get, and we'll get the email from it. Next thing, bill dot set contact number. Request map dot get. I will set this one, contact number. Use the same key whatever you are passing. Okay, so next thing is bill dot set payment mode. Request map dot get payment method. Next thing, we have bill dot set total. So total is the integer type, so request map dot get, and we will get the total amount, and we will typecast to string because it's the object, and then we will use integer dot parse int, and we will pass the string inside it in order to convert it to integer, something like this. After this, bill dot set product details, and we will typecast it to string. Request map dot get, and we will get product details, and finally we will set this one, bill dot set created by, and we will get it from JWT filter, because in the JWT filter we have declared one current user, so we will auto wire it first. So auto wire JWT filter, something like this. And if I go into this JWT filter, you will see this, we have one method get current user which returns the username, so the one which is login. So if I move back over here, go to the town, and here we will call this JWT filter dot get current user. It will return the current user, and we will set that who has created this bill. So we have to convert it to string, so just copy this part and paste it over here, here, and here, and once more here. So all values as set. Now next thing what we have to do is simply call this bill.save, not bill.save. We have to auto wire the bill down. So just move back over here, auto wire it, bill down, something like this, and move back to over here, and we will call bill dow.save, and we will pass the object into this one, bill. Now this will insert the record into the database. Next thing, now our insertion is done and everything is good. Next thing what we have to do is we have to generate the report or generate the bill. Okay, generate the PDF. So let me just show you how PDF will look. So if I move back into this one and if I open it, and here you can see this, it will look something like this. First we have to set generate one PDF, and again we have to set this border, this black line. After this we have to set this one, the headers, and we will set the font and this name, contact, email, payment, and we have to create one table. We will insert the dynamic rows, and finally this one, the last message. Total is this one, 279, and whatever the amount will be. Thank you for visiting, and please visit again. This will be a static message. These stuff which we are going to do. So just move back over here and let's start working on that. So first thing, we will generate one data. So what is the data? Let me just open it. So this will be is our data. So we will concatenate all of these into one string, and we will put /n to change the line over here so that it will be in the 4 different lines. So let me just start that. So move back over here. I'm going to name this one, I'll create one variable string data and is equal to, and here we are going to put the name colon, make some space, plus request map dot get, and I'm going to extract the name from it. After this we will put a plus and concatenation, and I'm going to change the line, and again plus, and it will be contact number space plus request map dot get. I will put contact number, something like this one, and again plus, let me just change the line, /n, and again we will concatenate email make some space plus request map dot get email plus we will change the line, and after this we will have payment method plus request map dot get, and we will pass payment method inside this one and just close this much data which we want. We just minimize it and let me just show you. Name, it will be name, contact number, email, and payment method is payment method, like this one. After this, what we have to do is, let me just move back over here and change the line. Okay. Next thing what we have to do is we have to create a document object. So document is equal to new document so make some space and we will use this one like this. Okay, after this we have to write this one PDF writer dot get instance. Inside this one we have to pass the document, so document, and we have to pass new file output stream. Inside this one we have to pass cafe constants. And okay, so before we pass it we have to actually set the one variable over here, so we will move to the cafe constants where it goes over here. So cafe constant, and here I'm going to declare one variable, that is public static final and string, and the name will be store underscore location. With the location where we will put all the PDFs. So if I move back over here, I'm going to store it over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this path, just minimize it and paste it inside this one. If I paste it, it will be in the double slash stuff. Okay, so just save it and move back to the build service info, and here I'm going to use it. So cafe utils, not cafe utils, cafe constants dot store location. And you must have observed that in cafe ut constants we don't have double slash on the last. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it over here. Just move back over here, and this one I'm going to concatenate it plus double quotes. Inside this one we will pass the double slash plus file name plus, and I'm going to pass set.pdf. This is what I'm going to do, right? So this is the location where I'm going to put it. After this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the document. So document dot open, and I'm going to set the rectangular bracket around this PDF. Here you can see this is a rectangle box, so I'm going to write the code for that. So I'm going to generate one method, that is set rectangle n PDF. I'm going to pass the document inside this one, something like this, and if I hover over it, create method set rectangular, and here you can see this, now the method is created. Now what we have to do is we have to set it. So let me just write this one, throws document exception if document is not found in that case, and this one method is not going to return anything. So I'm going to log one stuff, log.info, that I'm inside this one. So inside set rectangular in PDF, and we will create one rectangle object. So rectangular rect is equal to new rectangle, and we will pass the height, breadth, and all the dimensions, the 4 dimensions. So I'm going to pass 577 and 825. You can change it and you can see it. So 15, something like this. And now this one is ready. Next thing what we have to do is we have to set this rectangle dot enables enable border side, and I will pass 1 rectangle dot enable border side. We'll pass 2 inside this one. Rectangle dot enable border side, and we'll pass 4, and rectangle dot enable border side, and we'll pass 8 inside this one for all the dimension. Here you can see this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, next thing we will pass rectangle dot set border color, and I'm going to use base color dot black, like this one. Rectangle dot set border width, you can change the border width as well, and I'm going to set this one to 1, and I'm going to add it to the document. So document dot add, and we will add the rectangle like this one. Now the rectangle is added into the PDF. If we move back over here on the top, and here you can see this, now the document rectangle is set. Next thing what we have to do is we have to put that stuff, whatever the data. Okay, and before we put the data, there is one header. If you move back over here, you can see this is a cafe management system. So I'm going to add it first, and after that I'm going to add the data. Now we have added the rectangle, and after that we are going to add it. So for that, what we are going to do is we are going to make some space over here, and I'm going to create one paragraph object. So paragraph, and I'm going to name this one chunk is equal to new paragraph, and set this one I'm going to pass cafe management system, and we will use one method, that is get font, and we will pass header inside this one. Don't worry about it, we are going to write it in a while. So it's showing an error because we don't have this method. So alt and insert and create one method, that is get font. So we're going to create it right now. Okay, here what we will do is we will first log it. So I'm inside this one, so log info, inside get font, and here what we will do is we will put a switch, and we will pass the header inside this one, or header, just change this one to type. So type, then curly brackets and open case. If this type is header, then we will want to return a different font. So font header font is equal to font factory, and set this one I will use get font, and set this one we will pass font factory dot he vertica, and this one. Let me just remove this and back over here. Let me just minimize this one. Okay, after this we will pass the size 18 because it's a header, and the base color will be black. Okay, and we will set this header font dot set style, and I'm going to set this one to font dot bold. And if the case is, and we will return this header font like this one. And now the second case is, if this is not an header, it means that it's a data. Then what I want to do is font data font is equal to font factory, and so this one we will pass dot get font, and we will use font factory dot times Roman, and the size will be 11, and the base color will be black. This one, like this one, data font dot set style, and we will set the style font dot bold and return this data font. And if this is not the case, it means that neither this header is sent and the data is sent, then what we want to do, that will be the default case. So in that, what I'm going to do is just put a default over here, and we will return new font, something like this. So now our font stuff is ready. it's expecting header. So I'm going to move back over here, and here you can see this, I'm passing header over here. So it will return the font which we have set for the header. Next thing what we have is, now our paragraph is ready, and after this what we have to do, we have to set the alignment for this one. So just move back over, make some space, and I'm going to put chunk dot set alignment, and I'm going to set it to element dot align center, because you must have observed that when I open the PDF, it's in the center, that is Cafe Management System. So I'm going to put it in the center. After this, we have to add it to the document. So document dot add, and I'm going to put the chunk into this one, and here you can see this. Now this header is added. Next thing what we have to do is, we have to add the complete data. So for that, I'm going to again create one paragraph. So paragraph, and it will be paragraph, new paragraph. Inside this one, we have to pass the data, and after that, I want to put two next line, that is /n space /n. And after this, what we have to do is, we have to get the font. So get font, and I'm going to pass the data into this one. For the data, I'm expecting a different font, so I have passed data into the get font. So next thing what we have to do is, we have already set the data, and I'm not going to set any alignment because it will be by default on the left side. So I'm going to directly add it to the document dot add, and I'm going to add the paragraph into this one. Next thing what we have to do is, we have to generate the table. So for that, what we have to do, just make some space, and PDF table, PDF p table, and table is equal to new PDF p table, and inside this one we have to pass the number of columns. So I'm going to pass it 5, because the data which we want to print is have 5 columns: name, category, quantity, price, and subtotal. So we are going to set 5 columns. Okay, after this, I'm going to set the width for the table. So table dot set width percentage, so it will be 100. After this, I will create one method that will add header into the table. So add table header, and we'll pass the table object inside this one, something like this. And I'm just hover over it, click on this one, and it will create a method add table headers. So here what we will do is, we will create the header. So first we will log it. So log.info, and it will log inside add table header. Just copy it and paste it inside this one. And after this, what we will do is, we will type something like this: stream. We will use the stream dot off, and we will set the columns, the header name. So name, second one is category, third one is quantity, after this we have price, and finally we have subtotal, and we'll loop it. So for each columns column title, and we will have this. After this, we will use PDF p cell, and name this one header is equal to new PDF p cell, and I will set header dot set background color, and I'm going to change the color because it's a yellow. So base color dot yellow, or light, wait for a minute, it's base color dot light gray, something like this. Header dot set border width, and it will be 2. Header dot set phrase, and we will have new phrase, and we will pass column title inside this one. So column title will be this one, because we are running a for each loop into this one, and this refers to each element of this one. So new phrase. After this, we will set the set background color to and color to base color dot yellow, and we will set header dot set horizontal alignment, and we will set it to element dot align center. After this we will set header dot set vertical alignment, and we will set element dot align center, and finally we will add this to the table. So table dot add cell, and we will add the header like this one. So what it is doing is it's actually iterating a loop which will add first this one, then again this one, then again this one, then again this one. Okay, so in first iteration of the loop it will add this block, in the second iteration of it will add the second block, in third, fourth and fifth. It will work like this. Okay, so if we move back over here, now the add table is added. Next thing we moved over here. Here what we have to do next is we have to add the data into the table. Okay, for that just make some space, and we will use JSON because our data is in the JSON format, JSON array. So JSON array, and we will name this variable JSON array. Array is equal to, and I'm going to write one method that will convert a string into the JSON array. Okay, so cafe utils, make some space and move back to the cafe utils, and here we will make some space and we will add one method, and the method will be public static, and it will return a JSON array, and get JSON array from string, and string its variable name is data, and it will throw a JSON exception, and it will simply work like this. JSON array is equal to new JSON array, and we will pass data into this one, and it will return the JSON array. Why I'm writing these in the utility method? Because we can use it from more than one places. That's why we are writing it in the utility classes. Okay, so if I move back over here, and here what we will do is we will simply call it. For that we have to just use cafe. Now it's in the cafe utils, and it's a method, static method, so we can simply use it, call it by using the class name. So cafe utils at get JSON array, and so this one we will extract it from request map dot get, and we will extract product details, and it's in the object, so we have to typecast into the string something like this, and now the error is gone. Just move back over here, something like this. After this we will run a loop, and it will add row into our tables. So for int I is equal to 0, I should be less than JSON array dot length and I plus plus, something like this, and in the each iteration we will extract one JSON, and we will save that. We will add it into the row, the table row. Okay, so we will create one method add row. Before we create one method, we have to create one method that is get map from JSON, because we are passing the JSON. It's a JSON array, so whenever we extract one value from one index, then it will return a JSON, right? So what will be the data? So let me just copy this data and show you what exactly it contains. So if I move back over here, this is what we got from the UI. File name, contact number, email, name, payment method, and product detail. Product detail will be JSON array. So this is an array, and it contains one JSON, something like this. So whenever we extract one JSON, it will be a JSON. Okay, whenever we extract from the JSON array, then it will return one JSON. So we have to convert it into the form of map of string comma object. For that we are going to write one method. So move back into this one and move back to the cafe utils, and here I'm going to write one more method which will convert the JSON, that will be get map from JSON. So I'm going to just write over here, so public static, and it will return a map of string comma object. Just move back over here, and I'm going to name this one get map from JSON, and it will accept one string, and it will be you can keep it data, something like this, and if not strings dot is null or empty, then we have to pass this data into this one. Then we will return new JSON. If you are not getting these suggestions, then it must be because of you have not added the dependency in the POM. In the previous videos, I have already added all the required dependency in the POM, and I have put those dependencies also in the video description. So you have to check the previous videos in order to work with this. Okay, so I'm going to get it from JSON, and we will pass the data into this one, and from in what type of data you want to convert this JSON. So new type token, and inside this one we have to pass the type. So map of string comma object, like this one, and it will be something like this. Just delete this empty space, and dot get. Okay, wait for a minute. Not this one. This doesn't need to be outside. Just put it inside this one. Something like this. Dot get type, and it's done. If this string is empty, then what I want to do is I want to return new hash map. What it will does is whatever you get a string that is basically a JSON, it will convert it into the map of string comma object format. So just move back to this build service simple, and here now we will write another method, that is add bill, and inside that one we will pass each row. So it's not add bill, it's actually add row, because we are going to add a rows. Inside this one we have to pass the object, that is table, and second thing we have to pass the hash map. Yeah, so cafe.get map from JSON, and we will pass the JSON array dot get string, and we will pass the I. So because it's iterating, so it will extract one values, then another values, then another value. So you click on this one and it will add one method. It will accept this one, map from JSON, something like this. Now we will write this method in order to add row into the tables. Okay, so first we will log it. So log.info, and we will write inside add rows. I'm going to change this one to data. After this we will add, we got the table object, so table dot add cell, that is text. So add cell, and we will extract it from data dot get, and first thing which we have is name, and we have to cast it to the string because it's an object. So string table dot add cell, and we'll typecast to string, then data dot get, and we will get the category. Next thing we have table dot add cell, again typecast to string, data dot get, I will get the quantity. Table dot add cell, and we will pass string, typecast it to string, data dot get, and we will get the quantity. Not, we already have the quantity, we have to get the price. So let me just delete it. So it will be double dot to string, and we'll convert this to double, data dot get price, table dot add cell, and again it's a total amount, so double dot to string, sorry, just remove this one, the extra brackets. We'll to string, and we need to pass double and data dot get, and we have to pass total into this one. Okay, so now this one, our method is ready. Now move back to over here. So add row, and inside this one we are passing the table object, and we are converting the JSON array to the map of a string comma object. Okay, so now this one is basically adding our rows into our table. Next thing after this, what we have to do is we have to simply add the footer. And before we do that, we are going to add this table into the document. So document dot add, and I'm going to add this table. Now table is ready, and now finally the table is added into the document. Next thing, we have to add the footer, that is thanks for visiting and the total amount stuff. So paragraph footer is equal to new paragraph, and inside this one I'm going to pass this total column space plus request map dot get total amount which you are getting from the user, from the UI actually. So plus, and we are changing the line /n, something like this. And let me just put it over here, and we'll concatenate it with thank you for visiting, please visit again, something like this. And we will get the font, and we will get it of type data. Now this is the footer which we are adding. Next thing, we have to add it to the document dot add, and we will add footer into this one. And finally we have to close the document. So document dot close, because everything whichever we want, it's done. And finally we will return the UUID, that is the bill ID. So return cafe URLs not this one. We are not going to use this cafe URLs. Return response entity, and it will be something like this. ID colon slash double quotes, and it will be file name plus double quotes slash and closing bracket, and it will be http status dot ok. Now our API is ready. Okay, it's showing an error. Let me just check it. We missed one double quotes over here. So now this one is done. So now every task is done. First, we have validated the request map. After that, this part is going to use in the get PDF. I will explain you why we are using this. So in the else case, what it will do, it will generate a unique ID, that unique file name, and we will put that file name into this request map because we are going to insert into the database. So we have written one method, that is insert bill. We are extracting the values from this, and we are setting it to the bill DAO, and it will insert into the database. Next thing, we have generated this data, and we've extracted the values from the request map. After that, we have created the document object, and we have added the location where we want to store that document. After that, we have opened the document, we have set the rectangle for the PDF, and after that we have put the headers, we have put the paragraph, that is data, whatever the data we have. After this, we have set the table column, we have created the table, we have set the rows into the table, and finally added the footer, and finally close the document and return the UUIDs. Now let's test this API. So let me just start our application. Now our application is starting. Now our application is started on port 881. So if I move back over here, just hit the login API. So where it goes. Here we have the login API, just send it and we will get the token. Now we have the token. Let me just copy this one. If I move back over, click on new and just go to authentication, click on this one and we are a token. First we will paste the token over here. After this is a post call, so click on this one. Let me just copy this stuff and paste it over here. Now move back to this one. We just minimize it, open this one and go to build rest. And here we have bill and generate report. So I'm going to copy this generate report and /bill. Let me just remove it. Bill /generate report. And this is the data which we are going to extract. We are going to get from the user, from the front end. So I'm going to copy it and paste it into this one. So body, just select this raw, select this JSON and just paste it over here, whatever the data we have. Okay. So now I'm trying to send it. Just send it, and here you can see this bill ID with 197 is generated. And whenever we have started our application, automatically that bill table is created. So show tables, and here you can see this. Now we have this bill. Select star from bill. As I have told you that we are going to insert it into the database. So select G, and here you can see this. Now the ID is saved, and for the current user, that is Tom, this one we have extracted the token for this one. And for this, here you can see there's a complete data, and the bill ID is 197, which we have generated right now. Here you can see this 165.111.48 and 067. Now we are going to view this bill. Let me just minimize it, and if I go to this file, and here you can see this 197. Yeah, this one is generated right now. So 65.111.48 and 197. So just double click on this, and it will open our bill. So something is wrong. Let me just check it. So what we did is, let me just move back over here, and let me just move back to this one. That is where it goes. This set rectangle in PDF. If I move back to this, and here you can see this, I have set this set background color, but in the place of this I have to set the border color. So now if I save it and restart my application, now again we will going to try to generate the PDF. And also I'm going to truncate the table. So truncate bill, and now if we'll see, there is nothing in the bill. And I'm going to move back over here, and I'm also going to delete this PDF. And now if I move back to this one, that is the postman, our application is up and running on port 8081. So you can see this. Let me just minimize it, and let me move back to this one and just send it. Now you can see this. Now 19, the 419 is generated. If I move back over here and just double click on this, and now here we go. Now we have this stuff. Let me just close this, and here you can see this. Now everything is visible, the border is set, and if you want to see the difference, you can change the data. Like I'm going to change the coffee name. So if I move back over here, its name is coffee, so I'm going to change this to EEE, and I'm going to put extra E over here and send it. Now again new bill is generated, that is 869 in the last, so this one. So if I double click on this, and here you can see this, now the coffee contains extra E's on the last. So now this one is working fine. Now bill is also generating, and if I move back over here, select start from bill, and here you can see this. Now we have two rows because we have hit the API for the 2 time and the user which we have created. Okay, so now this one is working fine. That's it for this video, guys. In the next video, we are going to see how to write in further APIs, that is to get bill, get the PDF, get bills, delete bill, these type of stuff. So just stay tuned, subscribe, and share with your friends, and thanks for watching.